Hi, this is Matt Coddington with MyMobileVille, and this is a look at Verizon's Droid RAZR from Motorola. This is the thinnest, lightest Android phone currently available. It is 7.71 millimeters thin. You see down here at the end that it's a little thicker because of the camera components and some other electronics that are in this end. It's where some jacks are that I'll talk about in a moment. But otherwise, the rest of the body of the device is 7.1 millimeters. And I'll show you here by comparison that you can see a Galaxy S2 beside it, which is 9.59 millimeters. And not that this is really a thick device, it is really quite thin feeling. So the Droid RAZR is exceptionally thin feeling. And even though that it's really kind of square and got that typical Motorola military angular kind of look to it, that with it being as thin and light as it is, it doesn't take long to get very comfortable in your hand, and so that initially when I looked at it, I said, gosh, I'm not sure if I like the styling of this, but it's got the Gorilla Glass, got the Kevlar backing, and it's very thin and very comfortable in the hand. A couple other things: it's got a 4.3-inch AMOLED screen, and like I say, got the Gorilla Glass. It's got 16 gigs of internal storage and a gig of RAM, and then over here on the side you can see there is a micro SD slot. This is the door for it. And so it's got the micro SD card. It comes with a 16 gig card, and then this is for the SIM card. There you see the white slot there. It can handle up to 32 gigs. And then on the back it has an 8 megapixel camera that can shoot 1080p, and then on the front is a 2 megapixel camera and it can shoot 720p video. So I'll talk more about camera details later, just showing some of the hardware part. It has a non-removable battery, so you see here on the Kevlar back, this is not removable, so that's how they were able to achieve that thinness. And so if having a device that does not have a removable battery bothers you, then perhaps this particular phone will not be for you. Otherwise, then I'm sure you can ask any iPhone user that they can manage to get by without a removable battery, so I don't think that it's a deal breaker. The battery itself is 1780 milliamps, so it's a fairly hefty battery, and yet they managed to pack it on into this thin package. So it does have removable storage, but no removable battery. That's just a fact of life with this device. But if you can live with that, then you get away with some super thinness. The power button is up here in the upper right, and then down here, a little bit more down the side, is the volume up and down rockers. And they're very subtle. You can see they're not very pronounced at all. So one little gripe that I have is that when I'm holding the device, it's really kind of hard to feel as I take my second finger there and feeling around to distinguish where up and down are on the volume rockers. And similarly, when you'd be using the phone as a camera, that if you wanted to use the up and down to zoom, then you're reaching and it's kind of awkward. So I've found that when using the camera that I'd rather just zoom using the on-screen, where you can just go like that and zoom, because again you're getting ready to take a picture and you're reaching way over with your finger just so that you can zoom in and out, whereas if they were perhaps down here and you were doing them with your thumb, it'd be a little bit easier. But obviously for them to get this device as thin as they got it, then they had to make some concessions, and maybe that's the only place that they really could put those volume buttons. Up on the top you can see that there's the charging slot, and then there is an HDMI slot, and then the audio jack. Alright, so I'm going to power the device off here, and let's talk about the software. So when you first turn it on, the default lock screen is pretty nice. Got the usual slide to unlock, but at the same time slide to turn the camera on, or we can slide and immediately be able to mute the phone. So some handy features right there from the lock screen. I'll go ahead and unlock it, and we're now at the home screen. There's 5 screens that are on the Moto Blur, and I'll talk about some of the widgets and apps in a moment. What I want to cover first is that when the device is first powered on, it'll go through a device setup and want to set you up for like backup assistant, as well as to connect various accounts. So I'll just show you on the screen here the various different accounts that you can end up hooking up. And one thing that I noticed, just my own personal use, is that I have more than one Twitter account, and this will only let you set up one to integrate with this particular setup. So if you did have more than one Twitter account or some other kind of account like that, you might not need to find a third-party solution, but I know that that's more the exception than is the norm. There's a nice touch on the notification screen on the RAZR here, and that is the ability to be able to cancel individual notifications that are in your notification screen. So as you can see, I've got 2 Google Voice messages and then 2 missed calls. If I just want to cancel out the missed calls, I just hit the minus and I've canceled that, but I still have the voice messages there. On the notification curtain, it would be nice if there were power controls that were part of the curtain. I have a widget that's off to the side here so that I can control the Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, GPS, etc. And maybe I'm just a control freak, but it'd be nice if that was integrated on into the curtain. So they do have the nice feature of being able to individually cancel the notifications that you have, but they omitted having that option to be able to do those controls. So not a big deal. It can be done with the widget, but it's nice for certain things to be done just from the curtain, because no matter where you're at, you can get to it and not have to return to the home screen to do that. I'm going to talk about the app tray here for a moment. Down here at the bottom, then you've got these 3 icons can be customized. So right now I have phone, Google Voice, and then the browser, and then over here is apps. You can't actually replace that one, so that is where apps remain, or at least, if someone correct me if I'm wrong, that is not editable, so that just apps stay locked there. So I'm going to open up the app tray, and the apps on this device swipe left to right. These are, the majority of these are default. I don't think I've got very many things on here that I've actually installed at this point. I just wanted to go kind of with a native experience, and so that this is basically what you would have installed on it. Up here you can actually choose and have different groups, and so by default it's got recent downloaded Verizon Wireless, and then you see one that says Matt Test, and I'll just show you. If I tap that, then I just selected a couple of apps and they show up in that particular group. So it's just a convenient way to where you could make a new group. You choose the group name, so I'll just say Test, and then I save it, and now it wants to know which apps that you're going to add to that. So I'll just add a couple just for the sake of illustrating here, and I say OK, and now there is the test group. And if I go back to all apps and then I go back to test, you can see there's just the ones, and at any time you could be in all apps, and maybe I just hold down on calendar and then it says add to home, add to group, or hide it. So there's another nice feature of the app tray, is that they've allowed the ability to be able to hide an app. Not uninstall the pre-installed apps, but at least hide them. Another nice little feature is that you can immediately jump to the App Store right from, so we're just tapping that and you're going right to the Android market from your app tray. One other thing regarding on the apps, that if I, on the app tray, if I go down here at the bottom, then you can see that you can choose the hidden apps. So right now there are no hidden apps, but let me take a few and hide calendar, and I'll hide device setup. Okay, and now if I go to hidden apps, then you can see. So then you don't have to worry about the fact that if you did choose to hide something, that you're never to see it again. So it's just a nice way to be able to, we close that, and now we're back to all apps. And if I went to recent, and that could be a convenient, I use that on my go-to launcher on my device, so that just if those are the most recent ones that you're using, the thing is it will stay on that. So then again, if we go like to the Verizon Wireless one, and then we're back and we're doing things on the device, and now I go to apps, then it's going to be remembering what group that you chose in the app tray. So I'll put it back to all apps. Now, and it shows up at the top too, that there are 2 hidden. So kind of a reminder to you that there are some more apps than what you're seeing. Now we'll talk about some of the widgets. The first one we'll start with is the one you see up here at the top, which is a contact widget, and I think this one is pretty darn slick. You see that there's just 4 favorite contacts that I have on there, but if I swipe down, then it opens up and you see that there's actually room for 20 contacts that are on this particular widget. Swipe it back on up and it hides. Scrolling over here, I've got a social networking widget. You could add a variety of different accounts to it, be it Facebook, LinkedIn, Picasa, etc. Right now I just have the MyMobileVille Twitter feed, so otherwise then the little icon would show you as you're scrolling on through your feed which items you're looking at. So kind of a nice little social networking widget they've got there. This news widget is neat, where I can tap on it and then it's very thumbable, so that as you could be reading through your news items, and then when you come upon something, you can obviously share it or open up and look at the article in the browser. I'll go back on over here and show another one. This is actually 4 widgets, and if I go to the app door for a moment, I'll show what this is pulling from, is the social location. So if I just go to social location, there's a variety of different things that based on your location, you can see that it's populating now and showing the variety of different channels that you can have, as well as friends. So it kind of ties everything in nicely. If I go on back to the home screen, then I just chose 4 of them that's showing like the closest Starbucks to me, and the closest Yelp rated restaurant. There's the closest gas, and then closest attraction. Each one of these is its own individual widget, so I just had put 4 on this screen just as I was playing around with it. Another app that is neat is Smart Actions. Smart Actions really reminds me a lot of an application that I use on my device called Phone Weaver, so that basically you can have different profiles so that your phone will go silent at certain times or do other certain things. I'll show you that if I go to Add and look at some of the samples, you can see some of the different things that there could be. You can have just home settings, workout settings. Battery extender one could be very handy to make sure that on this LTE device that you're maximizing your battery use whenever possible. Another one down here is kind of interesting, morning, so that it automatically launches the news each morning. So you can see that the rule is in the morning, and whatever the time frame might be for that. So it's got it from 5 a.m. to 8 a.m. that it launches the news application. So just different settings. Some of them are handy, be it when you're in a work scenario that you want for it to go quiet, and then other things are just more of a convenient kind of thing. All right, now I'm going to show a little bit about the camera, this 8 megapixel camera that's on the device. You can see there's a little slider here, has some controls that I can slide on out of the way, or also if I hit menu it brings it on out. And it's got some of the different scenes and whatnot. And also you notice that it's got single shot, panorama, multi-shot, and timer. So I'm going to just snap a shot here to show you the camera, put something in the view here so I can, let me get that back out of the way. So single shot, zoom in on this remote. Alright, and so then there's a shot, and this is the review of it. So it's hard to see on the camera, but it is a very nice shot. Now what I'm also going to try is I'll go back to the camera, and I'm going to try doing several shots and see how fast I can shoot. So on some of them it did want to focus before it actually snapped the shot. But once it did focus, it's pretty quick. So it's pretty responsive. And now I want to show you, if I go to video mode on the camera, that there are scenes. Oh, that's the effects. Here we go. Audio scenes. So we've got stereo, wind reduction, concert, balanced, and front facing. So it's pretty nice to be able to just have some of that audio scenes built on in. And then we've got normal and video message mode. And you also have to be able to turn the light, toggle the light on or off while you're doing a video, and the other usual settings. So let me get the settings back on out there again. That this is obviously where we can change the resolution. It's on HD plus 1080p, and so you can change that and the other various settings. With the video camera, I'm going to show a little video editing. It's got some basic video editing capabilities. So I'm just going to film a little bit here, just looking at the laptop and looking around, just so I've got a little bit of film here. Alright, and I stop. And now here is the video, and if I go to menu, you'll see that I can edit it. I can also see it on the map and see if it's got geolocation. And so I'm going to go to edit, and so you can see you could edit the video info and tags or do advanced editing. And so then this is just basically, it says that it's video editor light. So you could see that you could end up taking, and as you play through the video, if there was a part to where then You suddenly want to pause it there, and now I'd bring the pointer on in, and now I've got it trimmed. And maybe you want to extract the frame, and so you can do that as well as add a title. So let me just say, laptop. Okay, say done. And then it wants to know how big the text is that I want to make it. I'll make it be large. Okay. What color? We'll make it red. And over what background? I'll say black. Alright. And then I say yes to saving it. Anything else I want to do? Well, you could resize the video as well. I'll just cancel on that. And now I'm going to save the video. I'll just save it as a default name there. And then we've got our basic edits. So, didn't show my title. Let me see if I go back to the gallery, let me see what happens if I see it in the gallery. Alright, now I play it. There's my title, laptop. And now playing the video.
Laptop and looking around. So I've got a little bit of...
Alright. And so that now we're back to the screen. Another thing I wanted to just point out about MotoBlur, it's a little bit disappointing, is that when you have the device in landscape mode, it doesn't rotate the home screen. Now if I go to the app tray, then you see it automatically rotates that. So if you are in your app tray, no problem, then you're able to operate the device in landscape mode. But if you're just back at the home screen, then it does not rotate. I've been able to test this device all over town, and the LTE speeds are quite impressive. Obviously, part of it is the device and the LTE radio that's in the RAZR, but it's also just the strength of the Verizon LTE network around Louisville. Been in the suburbs, been in the city, been deep inside of buildings, and the connection has been great throughout, and been doing speed tests all around. But I want to show you just a live speed test right now. I'm just right here in my basement, and I'm going to start this test and let it run. 85 milliseconds for latency, and looks like we're going to get about 10 megabits for download speed. Now I'm currently on Sprint, and here at my house I have an AirRave just so that I can have a solid Sprint connection in my house. And yet it looks like we got 9.35 for a download speed and 8.82 for upload here in the basement of the same place, to where if I was doing this with my Sprint phone they'd be pathetic speeds. Because really the AirRave does not help me with my data speed. I usually just connect to Wi-Fi in the house on my phone. So the network, the LTE, is just, I've said it before, I'll say it again, it is something to be admired. So that is a look at the RAZR, the very thin, very light, very fast RAZR. I give this 2 thumbs up. It is a very fast device. You could not go wrong with this. I encourage you to go check it out at a local Verizon store, or ideally if someone is nearby that has one, so you can hold on to it without a security cable and really get a feel for just how light it is, how thin it is, and knowing that this is going to get ice cream sandwich sometime in the near future as well. This is a very solid device, and I'm very impressed. This is Matt Coddington with MyMobileVille. Have a great day.